Hello there everybody and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers as we overlook this beautiful, beautiful scenery. I'm starting to realize that perhaps settling down on that little island over there might not be the best idea. So what we could do is perhaps just move over to this area over here so that we still have access to the ice. There's loads of it, and we'll just have a bit more space to explore and look for ores. So I'm going to go back. I was just claiming an unknown signal, which have been very lucrative for us actually. Today we're going to start building a basic base, which will be nice. We've got a whole bunch of materials, which was a combination of getting the unknown signals, as well as just refining a whole bunch of stone. So you can see we got about 2.5k worth of iron, some nickel, gravel, silicon, etc, etc. And we're going to start with our base. Don't mind that dent, that's where I may have crash landed. So we're going to grab some plates, we're going to come over here, we're going to probably get a big block like that, and you can see we're just trying to find a spot for us to actually place it. Now how are we going to do this? Let's see, where do we want to start? Okay, so this is gravity aligned blocks, which is perfect. You don't need to weld these up because they actually work if you just have one steel plate in them, and it's a bit of a waste of materials in the beginning to do that. We're going to come over here. Gonna make another row. So the first things first is we do need a way to generate power, and there is a couple options for us on our hotbar already. We have the wind turbine, which is pretty good, especially on Earth, because there's a constant wind supply, and if there's a storm it actually produces more power. We have the solar panels, which are fairly cheap to make, probably cheaper than the wind turbines, I think. But these obviously only work during the day, and we may want to do that, but since the sun is already up there, it's probably not worth trying to make the solar panel as our first one, and we want to do the wind turbine. So wind turbine, the higher it goes, the more power you're going to get out of it. So I think for now let's go up by like 5 blocks or something. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll plop a wind turbine on the top. But we don't have any interior plates, so we're going to need to quickly grab that now. While we're here though, we could always take the wind turbine, add it to our build planner, and then use the middle mouse to try and get as much as we could. It needs girders, so we can have a look. Go to production. We have plenty of iron to produce those, so let's do that. Now, wind turbines do have some restrictions. They don't like to be very close to each other, so you can't just put a whole line of them up. So they need to be about 8 blocks away from each other. But there is a trick that you can get a little bit more power on. We'll have a look at that in just a second. I pop this up a little bit more. May as well, since we're here. There we go, and we'll put this one straight on top. Let's weld it up. And you can see that we could have probably saved the 30 interior plate by not welding it up completely. So as long as it's above the functional line, it will be okay. Next up, we need to make ourselves a basic assembler, which is better than the survival kit because it can start producing some of the tubes that we're going to need. You can see here as the basic assembler, you can rotate it around. It only has one access port, which is a bit awkward if you want to access it or get some of the conveyor systems working. So we're just going to place it down there. We're going to have a look, and then we'll also place a basic refinery down here. You can see this needs a lot of steel plates. But the benefit here is it actually has 2 access ports, one on either side. So we can connect it to the assembler, which means once this is welded up, we can actually access the assembler from this port over here. And then there's other stuff that we can do as well. So we can do like a 1x1 cargo container, a small cargo container, which would be nice. This is a good way that you can actually move all of your parts around. We don't have interior play at the moment, but we'll do that in just a second. So let's weld up as much as we can. Add those to the build planner, and you know what? We may as well add the small cargo container there as well. Make sure it's on the large. We can see what parts we forgot, and then what parts we need. So we're going to need to produce a lot of parts, to say the least. But it will be well worth it in the end, because we can then at least get rid of producing things from the survival kit, which I think is less efficient. There we go. With the basic assembler and the basic refinery up and running, you can see we've managed to complete them, but we haven't been able to complete the small cargo container. And that's because we can't produce the steel tubes or the metal grids. Metal grids require cobalt, and steel tubes need to have a basic assembler in order to produce them. They're just iron, which is okay, but you can see here metal grids require that cobalt, which we don't have any. The survival kit can't make the small steel tubes, and it cannot refine cobalt. So we're in an awkward position where we can't really store our stuff, other than if we were to store them in things like the basic assembler, for example. We can keep that in there so that it can produce components for us, the same as it would be for the survival kit. We can actually refine some of this scrap metal now, which we wouldn't be able to do previously, and producing stone is going to be a lot quicker. Now, one of the downsides that we've got is we do have this wind turbine, which is currently outputting 2 kilowatts, which seems crazy considering it's spinning like no one's business. But that's essentially because none of these machines are running. It doesn't have anywhere to store that power, so we're actually going to look at producing ourselves one of the batteries. Now, I'm quite fond of the warfare battery. I quite like the look of it, but what we can do as well is we can just do a normal battery over here. Grab the light armor block. I'm going to just move some of these items across as well. So we've got silicon that we can still move there, and then we have some of these components, which I'll move as well. And you know what? Let's move all these tools. It's time to get rid of them. So let's grab them. Come on over here. I'm going to say I want a block. So I think we've got everything. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Can we withdraw enough? Nope, because we need power cells. That's okay. That can get started because we do have enough of the materials. We can also then just chuck in all of these things into this location here for them. And then we can actually put all of these tools into the assembler as well. And what we can do instead is we can actually disassemble them for some extra resources. Now this is good when you get the unknown signals and you get like tier 2 or tier 3 tools, because then you can break them down for their actual mineral that's not iron. So it would be something like cobalt or platinum or anything like that, which is, and so that's all done. So we can come over here to disassemble, and we can go to tools, and what we're going to say here is we want you to disassemble all grinders, hand drills, and welders, and that's going to give us all of the basic stored materials, which is great because it cleans up all those extra ones and we get a bit more materials as well. So grab all of those. I actually want a few more steel plates. Let's create a little bit more. So we'll go production. Oops. Clear that one. Sorry, we need to go to assembly. Produce me some more of these steel plates. And the reason for that is, normally you could just slap a battery down just like this. No problem at all. But personally, I quite like being able to see how much power I've got as part of my little wind turbine thing. I've ground down all my tools. Whoopsie. Let's clear these, shall we? And then we'll just make ourselves some quick tools. Gonna grind this block down. We're gonna then replace it with the battery. The reason I built this little structure here is we wanted to make sure it didn't fall down. Yep, those power cells are gonna take their sweet time. So we're gonna make some modifications to this ship over here. We're gonna grab everything that's in the inventory at the moment. I'm gonna keep that plushie in the small cargo container, get rid of all of you. And then here I actually want to grind down some of these thrusters. I made another one. I want to grind down these thrusters and I want to make left and right thrust. Just there. And then we'll put this other one just there. And that should give us 4 directional thrust, which will be good. We don't need down because gravity will do that for us. There we go. And what we should be able to do now, so we'll just say unlock. There we go. Some of the thrust that we're missing is essentially forward, but that's okay. We don't really need that at the moment. What we need to do is just make sure that we are quite stable, which is fine. We can balance that out. I actually want to go over here and we're going to have a look at the ore detector. That one's on 50-meter range, and we're going to come over to these little dark patches over on this side, because I want to see if that contains any particular ore that we're looking for. So I think there was a patch. Right, zoom out a little bit. That is the closest patch. So we'll go have a look. There we go. Zoom, zoom. I did accidentally break our antenna, which I don't think we can repair at the moment. We don't have the progression, although we might have it since we unlocked the basic assembler and the basic refinery. So let's have a look. See if we can find anything. Currently there's ice, which is fine. Okay, so we got some silver underneath here, which we can go GPS silver. And then that should pop over there. Nice. What do we got? Gold. Silver and gold. So we'll do GPS gold. Lean forward because it wants to run away from us. And you know what? That's a decent start. Okay, I think it just ran out of space. Yeah, I think we just run out of space because these power cells, they do take a lot of space. So let's see if I can say space one more time. Right, so we know that's gold and silver. Let's come over here. We're essentially looking for one that's got cobalt, one that's got iron. Those are extremely helpful materials right off the gate. Let's go. Alright, what do we got? Ice. Good to know. Ice. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Hang on. We saw it. Where'd it go? There was definitely cobalt around here somewhere. Yeah, there was definitely cobalt around here. I saw it for a second. So, GPS. Cobalt. Which I think I spelled it wrong. Who knows? It's been a long day. Ice. Anything else? This is a... Oh, there you go. And there's some iron just over here. GPS. Iron. Very nice. So while I'm here, I'm actually going to dig straight down. So we are looking for a reddish vein in the stone. That will tell us it's iron. There we go. So we can start mining that up. And you'll see, even though we're mining straight into the red, we're still going to get a little bit of stone as well. So it's down to us whether or not we want to collect that. Stone's generally good to refine while you're on the planet, because it does give you a form of silicon and nickel. So it's nothing to be scoffed at. And we'll see if the battery's done. Otherwise, we'll quickly run back and grab some of that juicy cobalt. I think I'm gonna... Oh, I thought I was gonna die. That jetpack mod makes it so much harder. More realistic though, which is quite nice. So we'll drop it in here. Basic refinery. You can see we've got about the same. So that was what, a 24? Oh, I can't do the maths. Let's say it was about 30 for 1.2 worth of stone. And this is already just blown it out the water. That is so much more iron. Alright. Battery, please. Again, you don't have to produce everything that the battery needs. You just need to do it to the functional line, which is predominantly the power cells, the first construction comp, and the steel plate. But may as well, right? So if we have a look here, the wind turbine is now producing a little bit more power. The refinery is taking a fair chunk. I think it's... Are you finished now? That was actually really quick, and we got loads of iron. I spent ages mining stone to try and get enough for that, so always good. Now, let's quickly heal up and we'll go get that cobalt. That's going to change things for us. How is it already getting dark? I feel like I'm going to be doing all the episodes in the dark. Or we're going to need to get a lot of lights. Speaking of lights... Hi. Yes. Because we did the basic assembler, we could do the light. And because I did the light, we got access to the sound block. Yay. But we've got it. Mr. Cobalt. Aha. There you are. So this is quite a distance. So I'm just going to right click here to try and make as big of a hole as I can to try and get down there. This could take a little while. And then when looking for cobalt, you're looking for this blue tinge, which is quite nice. We've hit it quite early, so we're going to grab as much as we can. And down here there's actually some gold as well, which is pretty neat. It's always good when they're clumped together. So we got iron, gold, and cobalt near enough on top of each other.
Inventory full.
Inventory full. I'm going to get rid of the stone. Who needs the stone, right?
Inventory full.
Turns out I do. So we're going to run this back to base. We've made a very large crater. Alright, slow and steady, slow and steady. I don't want to die again. Although we are running out of hydrogen. There we go. You know what? I'm actually going to create a whole bunch of lights to put on our base. Because no one wants to see a in the dark playthrough. Alright, let's drop off that cobalt. Then we're gonna right click here. We're gonna produce all of the plate and the steel tubes that we're missing. Be rather nice. And then we can actually produce the new tools as well. So we can go for the enhanced welder, the enhanced grinder. We just need one more metal grid. Come on. You can do it. There we go. And then we have our small cargo container. Pretty handy. Gonna drop the welder, the grinder. We don't need these anymore. Put that away. And then I want to grab our new stuff. It's going to take a while to produce all that cobalt, so I'm going to put the stone in front there. Just so we can get rid of that. We're going to go to the G menu, character tools, get that new welder, get that new grinder. Perfect. Lights, that's what we wanted. Produce a whole bunch of lights. Plop one over there, one on here, one on this side, just for fun. So you can see here we're currently getting 425 kilowatts in from the wind turbine. We're then getting a whole bunch out, so we're going to be fully recharged in 9 days. Now, 9 days is a long time. And I don't really want to wait that long. So I'm going to produce another one. I'm actually going to produce quite a few other ones. Then the next stage is going to be to just add a whole bunch more thrusters on here. So we're going to want the forward thrust, which we can stick on the back there. Some more lifting thrust. And then potentially actually change this control seat out for a cockpit. That way we can then plumb in the back of the cockpit into the cockpit. And then we can put a drill on the front. And then we'll have a basic drill. So while we're here, let's do that, shall we? So we'll say a cockpit. Let's say some conveyor tubes. We'll go with a couple small conveyors. There we go. You can see this is definitely welding them up quicker than it would have done previously with our tier 1. There we go. And we should see that we'll start getting quite a bit more power, which is always nice. And it's fairly consistent, to be fair. So instead of 9 days, we are now recharged in 6 hours. Perfect. And considering both the refinery and the assemblers working at the moment, I think it was a good shout for us to do that. So first up, let's get rid of this control seat. Let's have a look at the cockpit. Will the cockpit actually fit in here? The answer is yes, it will actually fit quite nicely. And we can see on the back here, if we put it upright, the connectors are on the middle, the left, and the right side. Now, we don't actually have anything that can plug into it, so that's going to be a bit difficult. What we can do, though, is perhaps replace this conveyor tube here for... It's not going to be a T-junction because it goes into the O2H2 there, as well as the survival kit over there. So we're probably going to want to replace that with one of these small conveyors. And you know what? That's actually plugged in, which was really nice and easy. Easier than I thought it would be. So we'll then take the cockpit. We'll then place you just there. And I'm actually going to trim this down a little bit, since we don't need it. We did get rid of the gyro, so we need to replace him, otherwise we are not going anywhere. And then you as well. Just doing some small renovations. It's not going to be a permanent thing, it's just essentially until we can get ore and ice and things like that. Cockpits generally don't even need a lot of materials, to be fair. We've just spent a lot on bulletproof glass when we didn't need to. That doesn't look quite right, does it? So we've placed that. We can then also get the same color if we wanted to by hovering over a block that we want to get the color for, and we can go Shift P and it will give you the color of it. And then we can middle mouse button to change the color. Nice. It's not the prettiest of things we've made, but... Ooh, that was a tight squeeze. Right, we're then going to go for the drill, which we never put on our hotbar. Let's put it instead of the basic refinery. Put that right in the middle. There we go. That way the small conveyor network is attached. And then we were going to do some thrusters, weren't we? Did we actually produce enough thrusters? I don't think we did. Okay, so thrusters. How many are we going to want to go for? So I'm thinking we definitely want some more lift. So let's pop a whole bunch here, shall we? It would be better if we got a large one, to be fair. We could have a look at that. Medium cargo container. This is going to stick out like a sore thumb. So we're going to have to be careful while we're mining to actually Be careful about that one. You know what, let's think about this logically. Forward, we're going to need a lot up. A lot of up thrust. Okay. Let's do 3 like that. Okay, what up? We are probably going to need to get another reverse thruster. So let's add that to the queue. Reverse thruster. Let's take a large, 2 large. And then... go one more small one. And then let's grab the large on here. So we're going to have to produce quite a bit. Do we have enough is going to be the question. And no is going to be the answer. We are unlikely to have enough. But I think that's okay. I think we can potentially just place this stuff down. So large thrust there. Large thrust there. I have to go back to stone mining because we need nickel. We got that backwards thrust there. Okay. I don't think this is turning out too bad. How are we looking? 360 nickel? Oh, we definitely don't have enough nickel. With our drill ship now ready to go, you can see I've just done the one back thruster there. We put our gyroscope back on. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. We've got the drill tool, which will allow us to drill. Let's go find some stone, because I was getting a little bit bored of actually mining all of that nickel. So we're going to try and do it in bulk. So this is the hole we were kind of going into. We've got to be a bit careful because we're not quite ready. So we're going to come over here and we're going to drill into the ground. Make the hole as big as we need to. You can also use right click with this drill as well to make the mine a little bit bigger, or at least get down to that juicy stone that we all want. Then once we're here, we can just start thinking about mining it all up. Now, as long as we keep level, we should be able to grab quite a bit of this stone. So how much are we up to now? We're already up to a little bit more. I don't actually want the survival kit to produce anything because it's going to waste our resources. So we're just going to keep drilling here for a minute. It's going to be a lot easier than it would be by hand. And the thing is, we can always add more drills to make this a little bit easier, and I think we probably will. We can either keep this as our drill ship, or we can make ourselves a new one. Which, probably make a new one. And then just leave this as an actual respawn pod. Would be better. So you can see here, medium cargo container. Pretty much filled up. The drill's nearly filled up. And then we got the cockpit. Just everywhere. We got a lot more stone now. Which is nice, so we just want to be a little bit careful as we're going out. Oh, gotta remember, we don't have a lot of reverse thrust, so we kind of want to utilize what we've got. There we go. Which we're going to need a lot more thrusters. If we're going to have this as a mining ship, it's going to need a lot of work. So let's come on over here. Next thing we probably want to do is not unload this by hand, so we're going to want to get a connector, which we can do. I'm going to bring this one over here. Move it along to this side, and we'll just drop down for a sec. Wait until it's ready to lock. There we go. I'm going to turn dampeners off. Now we're going to need to manually move all this stone across, which we have quite a bit, which is good because that's potentially going to provide us with the additional nickel that we need. I'm actually going to come here and I'm going to stop the production here for a second. Clear the build planner, clear everything like that. What we're going to want to start with is a connector. So we're going to need 2 parts. Essentially a connector for the base, which we can just produce some steel plates, and then we're also going to need a connector for there. There we go. There we go. So once we've got our connector, we can jump back in the pilot seats. We'll have a new block here called the connector, which will say switched lock. Make sure our dampeners are still back on. I like these. These landing gears are fun. We want to unlock everything. There we go. And then we kind of want to line up these connectors together. Perfect. Then we'll press 8. And then what we can do is come over here. You'll see already that the refinery is taking the stone away from the ship and just using it. But you can see there's loads already in the cockpits, for example. So we can come over here, we can hide empty. Let's type stone. Small cargo container, highlight that to make sure it's okay. You can take stone out of the survival kit because we're probably not going to need it, along with all of the additional stuff here. Let's move our plushies, shall we? And there we go. It's nearly finished refining the stone as well, but we've got a decent chunk of nickel now. It still won't be enough to actually produce the next thruster, but it should get there. It does mean we can easily go back out and complete some of the missing ones that we've got at the moment. So we've got you. We're going to need a few more of them. I think we've... Is it just this one? I think it's just that one, actually. But it'd be nice to get 2 more reverse thrust. So let's see what we can do. Put 1 there, 1 there. Sounds good. That's going to allow us just to get out of those holes a little bit more, or dig down face first. Because until we can do that, it's going to be quite problematic for us. There we go. Going to need a fair chunk of nickel, which I don't think we're going to have enough of. So for now, we may as well and go do another trip. I'll do one more trip, and I think that's where I will leave you guys. It's been a very successful episode, to say the least. We've managed to get the ship to a decent spot where we'll be able to grab all the different resources that we need. Like I said, once we get those additional thrusters and we maybe whack another drill or 2 on, we'll be in a very good spot. But it might be also a good idea if we just built ourselves a new one. So let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see a new mining ship, or do you want to see us retrofit this one to a point where we're comfortable with it? It's completely up to you guys. But with that, guys, I will catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.